All right, so we had some big time storms across the plains and into the Midwest yesterday with a lot of hail, a lot of wind, and even a couple tornadoes reported, especially here in northeast Colorado and Nebraska. So, a very dangerous day it was yesterday across the plains and parts of Iowa. And another complex of showers and storms that evolved last night is moving through the Hawkeye state of Iowa here this morning. And this line of storms is still bringing packing a punch with it, bringing some damaging wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, some quarter-size hail, and even an isolated tornado threat into the Des Moines area this morning. But today is a day to be weather aware. We have a rare level 4 out of 5 moderate risk of severe weather in a large area here of the Midwest across southwest Wisconsin, northwest Illinois, into much of the central and eastern Iowa and northern Missouri, and that's not even including the areas that are in the slight and enhanced risk here in the yellow and orange, stretching from Michigan all the way back down here through Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, with that slight risk of severe weather today. And that is, again, a day to be weather aware. So if you are not subscribed here to my channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. We'll keep you updated on the latest weather information right at your fingertips simply by subscribing down below. Also, give the video a like and leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll answer every comment, question, and concern later on in today's video. Let's look at the setup here today. We have a very strong negatively tilted trough here. You can see a negative tilt, very strong low pressure system up here into the upper Midwest. On the left exit region of that, we do have a very strong speed maximum over Iowa and Missouri, and that's fancy wording for a very strong jet stream, and that is feeding in to that enhanced and moderate risk for severe weather today across the Midwest. So looking at that and understanding what those categories mean. If you're under a level 3 out of 5, that enhanced risk, there's high confidence that several storms will contain damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. They're mainly scattered to numerous, but it's similar to intense storms your area may only experience once or twice per year. Once you get up to that level 4 out of 5, that moderate risk, high confidence, again, that those storms will produce damaging winds, hail, and some tornadoes, even strong tornadoes. And you see, similar to intense storms your area may only experience once per year or less. So this is pretty rare territory, especially in that moderate risk area. So let's look at the probabilities here. We have a large zone of some 2-inch plus diameter hail today, all the way up here toward Rochester, Minnesota, La Crosse, Wisconsin, all the way south to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right along this cold front. Basically the entire state of Iowa today could actually see that, most of the state of Missouri as well. So a very large area. We also are concerned about some strong and even long track tornadoes, those tornadoes that are EF2 strength or greater in intensity across portions of southwestern and western Wisconsin, southeast Minnesota, into much of Iowa here, northwest Illinois, and northern Missouri today. We have that 10 to 15% chance respectively across that region of strong tornadoes. And even outside of that area, folks, up here into, say, Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, over here into Springfield, Missouri, even the Tulsa area and Fort Smith, Arkansas, could still see a tornado today. So a large zone of tornadoes, and we are most concerned about the potential of a derecho producing system across portions of the Midwest that could produce winds in excess of 70, if not over 80 miles per hour in this hatched area from around the Des Moines area eastward toward Milwaukee and Chicago today. So this is a concern that we have as those supercells across Iowa and Missouri grow upscale into a big squall line as we go into the evening. Let's look further into this under the lens, because you can see the dew points are actually climbing into the 60s, if not the low 70s, all the way up here into Missouri and southern Iowa this morning and continuing into the afternoon. That is ahead of a strong cold front that is contributing to some moderate and strong destabilization of the atmosphere. The sunshine is coming out and is actually helping to get the atmosphere more unstable. So let's walk you through this more detailed timing of the storms. Late this morning, we have those complexes of showers and storms across Iowa and Minnesota. Those could produce some isolated, if not scattered, severe weather, winds to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail, and an isolated tornado threat through the noon time frame as those cross into northeast Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, and southeast Minnesota. Then a break. We see sunshine come out across portions of Illinois, eastern Iowa, northeast Missouri. That will destabilize the atmosphere out ahead of the cold front, and here comes those supercells in western Iowa near the Omaha region into Fort Dodge, Iowa, and west of Des Moines early this afternoon. Late this afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock, we see that squall line growing upscale very quickly across the Des Moines and Ames region down toward Kirksville, Missouri, just to the west of there. And this could pose a risk for more widespread wind damage, 70 to 90 mile per hour winds, some embedded tornadoes within the leading edge of this line, and a couple strong tornadoes will be possible. Those EF2 plus strength tornadoes. That squall line will race across the Mississippi River. So areas into Platteville, Prairie du Chien, over here toward Madison, in toward Dubuque, Iowa, Clinton, the Davenport area, Muscatine, down toward Galesburg and Macomb could start to see some very big storms as we go into early this evening. That will continue to shift east later this evening, crossing over Lake Michigan into northwest Indiana. While on a weakening phase, I still do think there's going to be some isolated severe wind gusts across Lake Michigan into eastern Illinois and also into northwestern Indiana here as we go into later on this evening. Then those storms after midnight will outrun the better instability and finally begin to fall apart across lower Michigan and eastern Indiana before they really even get to Ohio or Kentucky. So a very dangerous day is unfolding likely later on today. This is also going to be producing some very heavy rain here, especially where those storms are slower moving across portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin and northern Iowa. Those areas could be seeing a widespread soaking of 1 to 3 inches of rain, where the storms are moving a bit faster to the south with that derecho producing complex. We could be seeing more of a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain very quickly in that area. Still a marginal risk for flash flooding along that squall line, but I think where areas we see slower storm movement to the north near the low pressure track into Minnesota, into Wisconsin and northern Iowa, that's where we could have more of a slight risk for flash flooding up in that area. It doesn't stop today. The cold front's going to sweep east through the Ohio Valley and into the south as we go into Wednesday. Enhanced risk of severe weather from southern and southeast Missouri in through the Little Rock area, back here into Texarkana, into southeast Oklahoma and North Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area and surrounding communities there in north central Texas. Slight risk extending all the way up toward Cleveland, into Pittsburgh, into the Buffalo and Watertown, New York area. Looking at the biggest threat tomorrow will be very large hail. I know Texas and the southern plains are tired of this. We've had a lot of large hail so far this year. More on that is on the table tomorrow. More severe winds, 60, 70 miles per hour, especially in this red and yellow shaded color from the eastern Great Lakes all the way back down through the mid-south and the southern plains. And a few tornadoes are possible here from around Carbondale, Illinois, back through Springfield there, here into Missouri, into the Little Rock area, into Memphis, into Texarkana there, Dallas-Fort Worth, maybe even to Austin, Texas as we go into Wednesday. So same thing, dew points well in the 70s as we go into Wednesday afternoon. A lot more rich air mass here. We're closer to the Gulf of Mexico. So Dallas-Fort Worth, 73-degree dew point on Wednesday, 73-degree dew point there into Little Rock on Wednesday as well. Strong instability will favor severe storms. More of a scattered coverage as we go into Wednesday afternoon and evening, and that's the concern, as that will maximize that very large hail threat over 2 inches in diameter, and also the tornado threat down across the mid-south and the southern plains. More scattered storms up here into the eastern lakes region as well. Then as we go into Thursday, another slight risk here across the plains, marginal risk across the I-95 corridor down into the Delmarva there with the leftover from that system. Friday currently doesn't have an outlook day for severe weather. I do think severe weather will be possible again. Areas that see it today from the western Great Lakes all the way down here toward the Missouri Valley. On Saturday, slight risk for severe weather again, same areas that we see it here on Wednesday and Thursday across portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and then again, mid-Mississippi Valley region into the Ohio, Tennessee River Valley as we go into Sunday for Memorial Day weekend itself. So a lot of rounds of showers and storms will, drop a lot of rainfall. So couple corridors of some heavy rain across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin could be seeing a couple inches of rain up there. Secondary swath here of more intense rains across eastern Oklahoma, much of the state of Arkansas, southern Missouri, over here into the Ohio, Tennessee River Valley for Kentucky and Tennessee, seeing widespread swath of 2 to as much as 6 inches worth of rain between now and Sunday, May 26th. And let's look at that period as well. We haven't talked about temperatures. We're going to see cooler temperatures out west and across the north as we go through this week, through the weekend as well, through Sunday, May 26th. Warmer, more excessive heat down here, and especially the Rio Grande Valley near the immediate Gulf Coast and into Florida. And then that will stretch up across the eastern seaboard between Florida and Maine and everywhere in between there. And you can see as we go into Monday, Memorial Day itself on May 27th, look at the heat building across the south here, folks. So you have any weekend plans for Memorial Day, you might want to take into account the heat and the UV rays, as we may need some sunscreen down across the southern United States with the heat out there, some triple-digit heat down across South Texas and maybe into southern Florida as well. Precipitation-wise, yeah, we continue to beat that drum as we have more severe weather across the middle of the country as we go into Memorial Day itself, with another system with some soaking rains across the mid-Atlantic and on up into the Northeast. So looking at the pattern going into the last few days of the month of May, still continues to see excessive heat across the south and the eastern part of the U.S. A little bit of heat out here to the Intermountain West as well. We'll be drying out west, but the active pattern will persist through the very end of May here across the eastern two-thirds of the country as we go through that time frame. Some more heavy rain events and more severe weather events. Now is the time to prepare, folks, for dangerous severe weather today. Today is a serious storm, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite some time across the Midwest, so make sure to have multiple ways to receive watches and warnings. A NOAA weather radio is a great way to get alerts from severe weather watches and warnings across that area and all across the country here this week. Make sure you have that handy over the next several days. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to press the like button down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Subscribe to this channel for latest weather information, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Tuesday out there.